Welcome to welcome back to Tough Men of Faith. All right. You
Yeah,
all
let's
right?
go. Yeah, I mean, we're sitting here talking men's ministry stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like ready to go, and then talking about tough men of faith. And
Yeah,
I don't know. Can I throw the date out there now? Does that work for you guys?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Um, what was it? I had it
April
right here.
25th,
April 25th,
Friday night at the farm.
Friday Night Farm, and hopefully soon you'll see it on social media where you can get registered.
Yep.
Need to sign up for it. It's gonna be limited.
You need a tissue or something?
No, I think I'll be all right. I just got my sleeve, man. I'll be all right.
I
Do
got
you
you.
have a tissue? Do you carry tissues?
I got a hanky. It's been used all day,
No,
but I'll loan it to
no.
you.
I'm all right.
Okay.
All right. I was actually like sick like 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah.
I'm feeling fine now.
Crazy. It just keeps. It's like it just keeps going around.
Just got a little nose running. Hope
Yeah.
the camera's not too zoomed in.
It'll be fine.
All right. You doing all right?
I am.
Increase Jesus. Thank you for them for
Yep.
sponsoring us.
Yep. Check that out. IncreaseJesus.com.
Yeah.
Use the code tough-10 for 10% off.
Yeah.
Thanks, Seth, for all you do.
Hey Blake, are we on Instagram?
We are.
Check us out on
I know.
Instagram. You
I'm
got an
get-
Instagram?
No, I'm getting on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I have an Instagram account. I don't know how to use it.
Same here.
We have a buddy
Yep.
that he'll send me reels on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
Is it
he
me?
has, no. I never know because I didn't know you could even send direct messages on Instagram.
Okay.
So he'll take my phone, show me the messages so I can watch the reels. I never feel older than
Yeah.
when he does that. Like one day I'm gonna punch him in his face.
I don't know how you make a post on there.
I'm gonna figure it out.
I can figure out how to add stuff to my story, but I don't know how like the rest of it works.
You're so old, man.
It's
You turned
terrible,
40
man.
and you're falling apart.
Well, it's like I work with these 2 young kids too, and they do TikToks and
Yeah.
Snapchats and they do it all. And I'm like, I'm never gonna learn how to do. Like, I get messages all throughout the day. You know, Phoenix sent you a TikTok or Cooper sent you a Snapchat. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna ever open it. I don't
Yeah.
know how.
Do you
So-
do the TikTok dances?
No, I don't even do the TikTok. So, nope, I don't do the dances either.
All right.
Yeah, have you seen me dance?
Well, here's the thing.
I do well sometimes.
Ah, man.
Yeah,
Even if you don't have Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat,
yeah,
we'll find a way for you to register for this Friday night at the farm.
yeah.
You don't
Sure,
wanna
there's
miss
an
it.
email available.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. We'll get it.
If not, shoot somebody a text. Surely everybody texts.
Yeah, that's true.
My dad had a flip phone and he texts. So,
Really?
yeah,
My dad started texting right before he died.
really.
Yeah, yeah. Just he was adamant he wasn't going to text, and then
Okay.
I probably have about a dozen texts from him because he just started. So the last text I got from him was a thumbs up.
Nice.
Like,
He's like, dude, these emojis are cool.
He was pumped. I think he just figured out. He sent me a thumbs up on something. So
yeah.
yeah.
You know, you can change your tan on those too, dude. Dad?
Yeah, I try to match it up depending on what season it is.
Oh,
for
yeah?
me, yeah.
Okay.
I get a little tanner in summer.
Yeah.
You know. Here we go.
Season 7,
Season 7. we're in
episode 2.
Episode 2. We're talking about tough men, strong faith. 20
Yeah.
essentials for life. So last week we looked at your faith being anchored,
Right.
like for everything you do.
Yeah, you being the anchor.
Your faith being anchored.
Yep.
Today we're going to kind of dive into is like living on a mission.
Right.
And what that means is men like that. Hey, we have this like mission that we're called to.
Yep.
And staying on course. Want to look at not just like a general sense, because I mean it's easy to say like, yeah, we're godly men, we should be on mission for Christ and for the kingdom, but more specifically, what is that mission that God has called you to? Because
Okay.
the mission that you're called to looks different from me. The mission I'm
I
called
agree.
to is like different from you.
Yeah.
We find ourselves in different circles.
Yeah.
But that mission that God has called me to, it's easy for me to drift off that mission.
Right.
Like I even may look at your mission and be like, that looks a lot better than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And try to start drifting that way. Yet God has called me for a specific purpose
Yep.
and
So you need to find out what that is
finding out what it is.
and then how to apply it to your life.
Yeah, when you find it, then it's like pursue it with relentless determination.
Yep.
Like just be too dumb to fail. Right? It's like I'm just gonna keep if God's called me this, I'm gonna keep doing it, even if other people think it's dumb,
Yeah.
even if I keep failing, like this is what God's called me to. I'm just gonna keep after it.
Yep.
Like the dumb kid you keep punching and gets knocked down and gets back up,
Right.
you punch him and gets knocked down, right? It's like pursue your mission like that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like did you know someone like that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just, in my mind, I'm thinking that you have 3 daughters and, one day there's going to become boyfriends that come around.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, these daughters are going to probably date guys like that, get punched by RT and just get back up again.
No, they won't. That won't work there. I have friends to make sure it doesn't.
You're right.
To make sure I don't punch them.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
That's what clear.
Your friends are your fall guys.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the kind of the natural like progression to be like, what does it mean to live with mission or to have a mission? I think part of that is saying that a mission is more than a goal, right? So
Yeah.
like you probably set goals, right?
Yep.
Getting ready to get the first year,
Right.
set some goals for 2025.
Yep.
Can you believe it's 2025?
Nope.
Crazy. But a mission isn't a goal. It's like, this is how I'm going to live.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do day in and day out.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what my goal is for this
Right.
year, right? So,
Well, and your goals might tie in with your mission.
yeah, definitely.
And you should have a goal-oriented mission as well, but you need to figure out,
Yeah.
where that starts at.
Yeah, agree. And I think that the mission means, as godly men, we're aligning our mission with God's purpose for our life,
Yep.
right? So this is what God has for us. We want to make sure our mission falls into that,
Right.
and not something separate from it. But a mission helps us as men, like we can get distracted pretty easy.
Oh, yeah.
Begin chasing other things,
Yeah.
things maybe we shouldn't chase. And a mission just kind of helps you stay the course
Right.
on this is what I'm doing.
Yep. Yep, I agree.
Last week we talked about David.
Yeah.
And so when you think of David, he seemed pretty clear on his mission, right? From early on, he gets anointed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to go kill the giant,
Yeah.
right? It's like, I'm going to go to war.
I'm going to be king.
Want to be king. And he keeps doing all this. And then when you get to where he fails, it says kings went off to war. So his mission was to go off to war.
Right.
He sets at home, strays off course,
Absolutely.
which can happen to us.
Right. Every time.
It does. Like,
There's-
we're to stay on mission.
There's always a road going the opposite direction that it needs to go. And there's always a bus willing to take you down that road.
Yeah. Yeah. And that bus looks appetizing sometimes.
It does.
You know, maybe it's something on your phone, like that you should be working,
Yep.
and you find yourself on your phone looking at reels, and you
Right.
find yourself looking at other stuff on your phone. You're like, before long, you have definitely strayed off course.
Oh, yeah.
You're not living your mission in life.
Yep.
And
Yep. Maybe it's
things
with
aren't
your
gonna
family.
happen.
Maybe it's with your wife. There's always a bus ready to take you in the opposite direction.
that is true. That is true.
Yep.
And I think men just need like a clear mission,
Absolutely.
right, in their lives.
Yeah.
Like this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going to be
Yeah, this is my mission.
no focus,
Yep.
no fulfillment, no direction, no discipline, no
Right.
meaning. It's just like I'm just
It's like I look at friends, with no mission and no goals, and they just seem so depressed.
yeah.
It's like you gotta get something. You gotta have a place to start.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a good one for you to listen to.
Yeah.
It's a good starting place. But
Yeah, I think certain things like there's like some natural occurrences in life that makes you more wired to have a mission as a guy. So,
yeah,
I was thinking about the other day, someone had asked me if I had a good job when I got married and stuff. I'm like, not really.
Nope.
But when I decided to get married, I knew that I needed to get a job.
Right.
I knew I needed to make some money. So all of a sudden, my
Yeah.
mission came from, if I have enough money to buy a new fishing pole,
Right.
or whatever,
Yeah.
I was good.
yeah. If I'm
to-
just good enough to make it till next Friday, I'm good.
Yeah, I
And-
can have this. If I can just afford a small apartment, I'll be good by
Yeah.
myself, or live with some buddies. But then it's like, no, I want to get married because I
Right.
really love this girl.
Yep.
I know she wants to have kids, so I want to have kids.
Yeah.
I got to change some things.
Yeah, I got to change a lot of things.
right? So that put me on a mission because I wanted these things,
Yeah.
which weren't bad things. That's
Right.
the desire God gave me at the time. So
Yeah.
gave me a clear direction. Like this is where I'm going. Had to get more discipline.
Absolutely. Yeah.
to make
There's a
those things
lot of
happen.
discipline that came in.
And then there's also meaning, right? So on those hard days of working 2 jobs and
Yeah.
going to college and being driven to make,
Yeah.
money
Everything's not
and-
going great at home.
yeah,
You know.
but this is why I keep
Yep,
going.
exactly.
It's
You
worth
ask
it.
yourself, why do you do it? And you need
Yeah.
to know why. You need to have a clear directive, and
Yeah.
you need to have a clear answer as to why you keep doing it every day.
Yeah. And if you have that clear mission, I think it helps you not quit.
Absolutely.
Right, like this
yeah,
is-
it helps you,
Get after it.
yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Let's keep talking maybe some more practical things
Yeah.
on it. Like one would be like, I think the question that I get a lot is like, how do you discover your mission?
Yep.
Right. So when we talk about it, like in the beginning, we said your mission is going to be different from my mission.
Yeah.
So what is that? Like, how do you discover that?
Well, I think you kind of almost need to feel where you're being led to and what you're being led to, and where for a lot of people, it's being comfortable,
Yeah.
and not necessarily too comfortable. But
Right.
if there's a place that you feel comfortable, or a place you feel drawn to lead, or maybe it's to teach, or maybe it's to preach, or
Yeah.
you never know. But I see guys all the time that start a new mission, or start some kind of an outreach, and this is why something personal brings them there, touches them, and they feel like this
Yeah.
is where they need to go. We have
Yeah.
a friend that helps with the homeless downtown Indy.
Yeah.
And I think he just come up out of the blue one day and he's like, this is my mission. This is what
Yeah.
I want to see change, and
Yep.
this is a place I believe I can serve and I can do something.
Yeah. He's interesting because he came to Christ, new believer. His faith gets anchored in Christ.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he's like, he knows God's calling him to do something.
Yep.
And starts looking at
Well, I think he
areas he can
works
serve.
and lives in the environment that
He
he's
does.
serving in.
Yep.
And he sees that, hey, maybe I have either too much, or maybe I just have a calling or
Yeah.
something here that I want to help in this particular place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's where it starts.
It does.
I think all of it starts with you getting involved.
Yeah.
Finding Christ and
Yep.
finding salvation. And I mean, I think that's where it starts.
Yeah. So knowing God.
Yeah.
and then-
If you feel like you don't have a mission, you might want to look at where you're actually at in life.
Yeah. Well, some of it's even, so I think that was a great example you brought up because he has a relationship with God, but then looking at like what skills he has
Yeah.
or passions,
Right.
right? So his skill set's different from ours.
Right.
His passion is different from ours.
Yep.
And the third part of that is like his opportunities are different. Like
Yeah.
you and I couldn't show up in his environment and do what he's doing because we don't have the connections that he has.
Right.
Like he already has a reputation.
Yeah.
A good reputation.
Yeah.
That gives opportunities for him to be able to step into some things
Yep.
that we couldn't do.
Right.
But
Yeah.
God
People
is
look
like,
at us and be like, oh, you're just another person that's going to last 6 months and you're going to
Yeah.
be gone. And, he's been doing this for a couple of years
Couple
now.
years,
just
man.
knocking it out.
getting after
So,
it. Yeah. The other part of that is like, so you have a relationship with God, then you know where you're gifted at, where you're good at, but then
Exactly.
maybe seeking some counsel. So
Yep.
that's something he did. Like,
Yeah.
So he talked to a few of us like,
Yep.
hey, this is what I'm wanting to do. Now I'm pretty sure if we just said, no, we don't think you should do it. He's like, well, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I'm going to figure out a way.
But
it's not going
I
to stop
think it
here.
was affirming to him when he comes to us like, this is what I'm thinking about doing. We're like, dude, you should do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how can we help fund it? How
Right.
can we kind of fan that flame to make it keep going?
Yeah. What's
right?
it take?
Yeah.
What can we do to help make it happen with you?
Yeah.
So-
And then the other part with that is like he has guys around him now because he's just kind of built them. They've seen his mission.
Yeah.
That I think they challenge him in a good way and sharpen him.
Right.
So if he was to walk away from it tomorrow,
Yep.
he would have guys who'd call him up and be like,
What happened?
man, what are you thinking? Like, man,
Yeah.
you are good at this. Like,
Yeah.
you got to keep after it. God's using you. So on the days he's been discouraged, he has encouragement to stay on his mission.
Yeah.
Because he has other guys involved.
Yep.
Yeah, and even with us, right? Some of the things we're called to, like even the podcast, like
Yeah.
there's been some guys in our lives that have said some things that's encouraged us with
Yep.
it, right?
Yeah. There's been some discouraging things.
There has.
There's been quite a few, but like I said from day one, if it reaches one new person,
Yeah.
that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. So I think you figure out your mission, and then once you get it figured out, you just like pursue it relentlessly.
Yep.
Like the kid who gets punched and just keeps getting back up, right?
Yep.
And you're disciplined. You don't worry about failure, fear, what others would say.
Yeah.
It's just that
Yep.
mindset.
And those might be minor setbacks.
Yeah.
Because we've been there, I think, too, is, people say things that are negative and you start feeling a certain way about it.
Yeah.
And it could be, in time, it's just taking a little while longer to get over certain things. And
Yeah.
And one day it's like, all right, we're back.
Have
Who
you had
cares?
anything negative about the podcast?
Not about the podcast specifically.
We did early on a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
bit.
I had some friends that,
It stung a
kind
little
of said
bit.
some things.
right?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Well, because when you're friends and there's people as close to you and they see you taking on a mission
Yeah.
that they don't necessarily get behind,
Yep.
and they talk a little trash about it because that's
Yep.
what we do.
Yep.
And
It wasn't healthy trash.
it wasn't healthy
No.
trash. And so it stings a little bit. You wonder why you're not being supported. You
Yeah.
wonder why, people that are close to you have something bad to say. But
Yeah.
end of the day, you put your foot down
Yeah.
and get after it.
Yeah, a man on mission doesn't stop.
Nope.
When it gets hard, he keeps going.
Right.
Think about David's life. We talked about him earlier.
Yep.
So the dude gets anointed,
Right.
and then his dad doesn't think to even bring him there.
Yeah.
And they're like, the prophet's like, David, this is now your mission.
Yeah.
You're going to be king. And so in his mind's like, yeah, my dad doesn't really seem to support
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. My brothers don't think so.
Then when he tells his brother's like, David, shut up.
Right.
Like, why are you here?
Yeah. Get back out in the field.
Get
What are you
back with
doing?
the field. Right? So you got to think like, he
You're a
knows
shepherd,
his mission.
okay?
And his own family doesn't support him. He's
Right.
like, no, God's called me to this.
How could you not get discouraged?
Yeah. But he
I mean,
keeps going.
Right.
Because where his faith is anchored,
Exactly.
keeps going. And I think where his faith's anchored, and he knows what he's been called to
Yep.
in his mission. and keeps going. Yeah, that's a good one. Coming out of even some things like the small things for us, right?
Absolutely, yes.
People may have said, but
Yep.
yeah, the mission, like if it's clear, man, you just
Yep.
Nehemiah. We've talked about Nehemiah
Yeah,
before.
for sure.
Like told to build the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a cupbearer, and
Cupbearer. I always like that verse in Nehemiah. I forget what chapter it's in. It's towards the middle, but they're basically like, if a little fox walks on your wall, it's going to fall down.
yeah.
Guy's talking trash.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So he had distractions.
Imagine trying to rebuild a wall with a sword in one hand and, mason tools in the other.
Yeah. And being a cupbearer.
And being a cupbearer at that. Yeah.
It's like when I do drywall work.
Right. We laugh at you.
A pastor doing drywall work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the thing about drywall. I don't mind trying anything now.
Right.
I'm thinking about remodeling my entire bathroom.
Are you?
I'm going to try to re-drywall it all because if I mess up too bad, I know who
You
to
got
call.
a guy to call?
I got a guy.
Can you call me first so I can help you build a good foundation?
No, man. No.
Come on. Let me be the anchor
No,
on
I'm
this
going to let you come
project.
see at the end.
No.
So Nehemiah, David, like they all have this mission that God's called them to, and let's keep going.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's make this just a little bit more practical.
Yeah.
Make it a little bit more personal today for me. So I have a mission statement that I had like a leadership coach kind of help me develop.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of take you through how I developed mine.
Are we going to talk about your mission statement?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay.
I don't talk about it much, but
That's good.
I keep it personal.
Yeah, I just kind of read through it, and
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't talk about it much either.
Well, it's all right. But I think the mission statement has to mean something to you, right?
Yeah.
So mine is, I will take a swing every day to encourage men to be leaders who find joy in Christ.
Yeah.
So for me, that means take a swing. Like, I enjoyed baseball growing up.
Okay.
I wasn't very good at it.
Really?
Yeah, I was a catcher.
It's a bench warmer.
I played because when you're little, none of the kids want to be a catcher. And
I made the
thought,
Kool-Aid.
I can be the catcher. I can never really hit anything. Maybe that's why it goes in my mission statement.
Yeah.
So my thought process, like, I may not accomplish it, but every day I'm going to try to encourage men to be
Yep.
leaders who find joy.
Yeah,
in
you're not
Christ.
quitting. You're still taking one more swing every day.
I want to take a swing every day.
Yeah.
So I kind of came to mind by going to Scripture.
Yep.
A verse that's always meant a lot to me is Ephesians 5, 15, 16. Talks about redeeming the time or making the best use of time.
Yeah.
When I look at my life, I'm pretty good at wasting time, or have been in the past.
Yeah. I can find ways to waste time.
Yeah. Even before
In
like
fact,
social media. I
I'm
can do
probably
that.
more efficient at finding ways to waste time than I am at finding ways to use my time in a good way.
Yeah. So I started thinking through that.
It's
and
about
praying through it.
efficiency.
It's like, I need to stop wasting time. Like
Yeah.
I need to be very proactive with my mission, what God has called me to not waste time. So
Right.
that's kind of the foundation of where I was at. And then I thought, I'm really not very, very good at it sometimes. Like I'm going to mess up a lot, but I really want to invest in other men and
Yeah.
see them develop as leaders. So I had this motto that I was like, I just got to keep trying. So
Yeah.
I came across this quote by Hank Aaron. Do you know who Hank Aaron is?
I do.
My motto, this is what he said. My
Yeah.
motto was always to keep swinging. Whether I was in a slump or feeling badly or having trouble off the field, the only thing to do was keep swinging. I thought that's perfect
Yeah.
because there's days I feel like I'm in a slump. There's days I feel bad.
Yep.
There's days I'm having a lot of trouble. And in those days, I want to keep like swinging or
Yep.
trying.
And on the other side of that, the flip side, there's days where you're going to be on top of the world.
Yeah.
And when you're getting things done and things are going great and you got great converts and great,
Yep.
great sermons. And
Yeah.
on those days, don't lax up and stop swinging.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, you're in your, what do they call that in baseball?
I don't know.
On a hot streak, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get on one of those hot streaks for preaching.
Right.
So then another...
Maybe I'll start coming back.
Yeah, then maybe guys will start showing up to church instead of sitting in deer stands watching me. The next quote I got was another baseball quote. Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
I know you know him.
Yep.
He said, I swing big. With everything I've got, I hit big or I miss big. I like to live as big as I can. I thought that's perfect.
Right.
I'm going to put the two together.
Yeah.
I'm going to swing every day,
Yeah.
and I'm going to swing big every day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to miss a lot.
Right.
But at least I'm going to miss big.
Didn't this go against everything you learned in the Army? Aim small, miss small.
It goes against that.
Okay.
Yeah. But some of it's like your personality, like how you're driven. I
Yeah.
spent 4 hours a day doing personality tests.
Okay. How'd that go?
It was on Zoom.
They were
The
like,
ones
"You
I've
don't
already
have one."
And no, I already know where I'm at on it.
Okay.
And then they broke us up in small groups. And so this kind of, some of this fits my personality. Like, I'm going to get after it. I'm going to try to do something really big. And if
Yeah.
I fail, I'm like, we'll try again tomorrow.
Okay.
So for me, I want to see as many men as possible find joy in Christ,
Yeah.
right? To be true leaders in their family, in their homes, and in their workplace. So then I think what you got to look at in your life is like your strengths, but also like what opportunities you have.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm a pastor.
Yep.
Which that gives me some opportunities you don't have.
Opportunities find a way to present themselves.
Right. I'm an officer in the Army.
Yep.
That gives me some opportunities that other people may not have.
Yep.
I'm a husband. I'm a dad of 3 teenage daughters. That gives me some opportunities to invest in some young men.
That's exactly what it
They
does.
just show up in my house
Right. Yep.
all the time.
Ready to be preached to.
Ready to be preached to. And then I serve on some boards.
Yep.
I'm a son. So I started like listing like
Nice.
all the different, like, I don't know what you'd call them, but just areas that I serve in,
Yep.
opportunities I have. And then I started looking at like, okay, how do I encourage others, or what strengths do I have?
Yeah.
Or what doors are opening up? I'm able to teach, right? So that's just,
Yeah.
I get asked to go teach.
And not very
sometimes.
good, but you do it.
I'm not good at it, but people keep asking, so I show up, right? I have a lot of guys who want to connect. They want to come by the house and work out.
Yep.
Want to go to coffee. Want to go squirrel hunting occasionally, right?
Right.
Or do something. So I was like, okay, so I have these opportunities, and then I started this like looking at like my personality, like how am I wired, like as
Yeah.
a person, and then really started talking with some other people. And I used a leadership coach to kind of help with this. But then they started asking, how can I help?
Yeah.
Right. So where's God calling me?
Yep. How can I apply God
How
to
can
all
I
these
apply
areas of
that
my
in
life?
this areas? And so I just started writing down like, when do I feel most alive? One of the things I feel most alive is when I see others succeed in their leadership. So I'm at a place where if I'm able to hang out with a guy and see him grow in his business and his leadership as a father, as a husband,
Yeah.
and I get really excited about that, right? And so that makes me feel alive. When I spend time working out with a guy at my home in the mornings and seeing him grow in his walk with Christ and get physically stronger, and
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
I really like that, right?
Yeah.
So God's wired me in that way. So from that's kind of how I developed, like, I'm going to swing every day to try to see guys grow in their leadership.
Yep.
And see them find more joy in Christ. Because for me, that's where it comes from, right? Like,
Yep. Well,
being a Christian should be fun.
Those are areas that you find joy in life. And
Yeah.
if you can help somebody and lead somebody with those,
Yeah.
with those, those parameters that you've kind of put yourself into,
Mm-hmm.
it's a great way for you to find joy.
Yeah.
Um,
And where it helps is like, so when distractions come, it helps you stay on focus on what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Even good distractions. So we know this, right? They're like, we get opportunities now that would be okay, and they're not bad things,
Yep.
but they would take us off course what we're supposed to be doing.
Yep. Exactly.
Like, I say no to a lot of things so that I can say yes to this podcast.
Right.
Because
Yep.
I feel like this is where
Absolutely.
God's called me, right?
Yeah.
This is me taking a swing at trying to help a few guys.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. In a different way.
Yeah.
It's not so direct, and maybe a little bit of indirect
Yeah.
is a good way to, for guys to step into something new.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
And I think
Face to face doesn't work out for everybody.
it doesn't. And I think you begin to see that the true thing is like, your mission's not about you, but it's about the purpose God has called you to.
Yeah.
And that's something I really had to work through. Like, I feel pretty inadequate of when I look at my mission statement.
Yeah.
I'm sure David felt really inadequate.
Right.
And had some others tell him. So when other people even tell us that we're pretty inadequate to
Yep.
host a podcast, we're the first ones to agree with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But we feel like God's called us to this
Right.
purpose. And I think the world just needs men who know their purpose and just boldly live it out.
Yep, I
and
agree.
then God will take care of the rest, right? Like, you just step up,
Yeah.
do what he asks,
Right.
lead the results to him.
Yep.
Um,
There'll be a few.
yeah, you may get a few. You've always said, this one guy.
Yep.
So that's kind of where the process, I know there's a lot of ways to come up with your personal mission statement.
Yep.
That's some things I did to kind of help with mine. So I just like to encourage our listeners to start really like praying and seeing like what opportunities has God given
Yep.
you, what makes you feel alive.
Well, maybe think about your own mission statement too.
Yeah, I think you need to develop.
Maybe it's something that you can think about for a while. You can kind of put some things into it. You can weigh some stuff out, and maybe it's something to fall back on when times do get tough.
Yeah.
Where was I at on this day? Why did I think that this was my
Mhm.
mission statement? How can I get back to it, or how can I feel better about doing it?
Yeah. And I think we're still kind of working out some of the details, but one of the things we're looking at doing at the Friday night at the farm
Yep.
in April is really like helping guys develop their mission statement.
Yeah.
And what that looks like.
Right.
So part of like, we're going to work through this entire season, look at a lot of things. And I think a lot of that's going to tie back into your faith being anchored in Christ.
Yep.
And then what is it that you're called to?
Yep. I agree.
And so, yeah, I'm really pumped about that.
Yeah, I am
I know
too.
we're several months out,
Yeah.
but I'm excited to see guys kind of develop that.
Yep.
The fun the thing that I find a lot of enjoyment in is when guys develop it, is to see like the different things God calls them to.
Right.
So even like what we talked about, like the guy that's serving in the inner city in Annapolis,
Yep.
like these unique ministries and areas that need godly, bold men.
Right.
And God gifts guys uniquely to serve in them. So
Well, that's one thing I really respect about him too. Is back to that for a minute. There's other ministries that do the same thing that he's doing.
Mhm.
There's other ministries out there doing the same thing that he's doing that have endless budgets or near endless budgets. But this is a guy that decides that he didn't want to join necessarily their ministry. He wanted to do this his own way,
yeah,
with his money, with his time,
yep,
with his leadership, really. And I mean, you talk about a bold step.
Yeah.
That's, that says something about you.
yeah. And it strengthens others' faith.
Yeah.
It strengthened our faith, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
watching him, and then
Yeah.
we've got behind him, and others have, like, because we're so
Right.
excited about what he's doing. So,
Yep.
yeah. All right, this has been good,
It has.
real good.
Yeah, think about your mission statement
Yeah.
and what that means for you. And like we talked about before last week, find out where your anchor point is.
Yeah.
And where you're anchored in God and how that looks for you. And we can keep building on these week to week.
Yep. And come to Friday Night at the Farm. We'll have
Yeah,
development.
Friday Night at the Farm, April 25th.
All right.
Yep. And once again, thanks to Seth with
IncreaseJesus.com.
IncreaseJesus.com. Use the code tough-10.
See you guys later.